Not all food carries the same level of safety. Pufferfish, for instance, is well known for its potential risks if not properly treated to remove toxins, and consuming any mouldy food can lead to illness. Certain foods, if eaten hastily or not sliced correctly, may pose a choking hazard, but there are certain foods intentionally designed to carry some risks. Despite perfect preparation, they can still cause harm or have a significant impact on one's health. These intentionally risky foods demand caution, and in some cases even require protective gear before consumption. Shirako. Japan is infamous for its bizarre cuisine, and shirako stands as one of its strangest offerings. Shirako refers to the sperm sacs and accompanying semen of male fish known as milt. These delicate sacs are highly prized and considered a delicacy in Japan. Shirako is harvested from various fish species including cod, anglerfish, salmon and pufferfish during the winter months when they produce the most seminal fluid, resulting in a richer flavour. Once harvested, shirako can be prepared in numerous ways to entice adventurous palates. Raw shirako resembles a soft, scrambled, brain-like semi-solid. Light cooking enhances its creaminess, transforming it into a custard-like dish based on seminal fluid. For those hesitant to try it fresh, shirako can be coated in tempura batter and deep-fried, creating a crunchy and creamy sperm sac. Considered the most prized part of the fish, shirako holds the status of culinary delicacy. In some areas, even tiny portions of shirako sell for over $100. The most esteemed variety is the shirako of the pufferfish, known as fugu, which reigns supreme as the grandest delicacy among sperm sacs. Serpent burger. In the southwestern US, rattlesnakes are not only feared, but they are raised as food by specialty suppliers. Proponents of rattler rations note that snake flesh is biologically similar to chicken, believed to be due to the supposed reptilian ancestry of birds. It is a surprisingly southwestern dish that makes a trip to the desert very authentic. In Southeast Asia, eateries are actively marketing their own snake snacks in the form of actual snake burgers made from cobras and other snakes. Because snakes are venomous rather than poisonous, it is perfectly safe to eat snake flesh itself, as the toxin is not distributed throughout the tissues. After filleting and frying, you would never know you were not eating beef or chicken. The urine diet. The urine diet is a bizarre weight loss practice that involves restricting your diet to 500 calories a day and injecting yourself with the urine of pregnant women. The diet can supposedly help you lose up to 0.5 kilograms or 1 pound a day. Strangely enough, this miraculous weight loss is attributed to the injection of urine as opposed to the limit on your calorie intake. The urine of pregnant women has a special hormone called human chorionic gonadotropin, or HCG, which is created by the placenta. If injected into the body of a non-pregnant person, this hormone can trick the brain into thinking that the body is pregnant, which some say makes the body metabolize much faster. Some of those who've tried the urine diet are extremely happy with the results and attribute their weight loss solely to the urine injections, firmly believing that it's thanks to these shots of urine that they didn't feel hungry during the dieting period. Skeptics, however, argue that the urine and the HCG hormone have nothing to do with weight loss. They accredit weight loss purely to the 500-calorie diet and warn that the urine diet poses obvious dangers. For a cheaper, the urine costs between $300 to $565 for a 6-week supply, and more beneficial way to lose weight, limit your calorie intake, which you must do with this diet anyway, and take up exercise instead. The ugly secret behind street food in the third world. There's no denying that street food has gained a lot of popularity over the years, especially because of the flourishing tourism industry, food tourism shows, and social media influencers trying to hype up small vendors selling on street sides. But did you know that behind the glitz and glamour of these delicious dishes lie horrifyingly unhygienic practices? And in third world countries, most people aren't even trying to provide clean food. If you saw what goes on behind the scene of these open-air stalls, there'll be some major regrets regarding that yummy snack you had on the streets of Mumbai. As you can witness, scenes like this man kneading the dough with his bare feet are irregular in the poverty-struck nations. The beautiful and fresh-looking vegetables you see being used in the making of these foods are probably washed with sewer water, and if you saw how dirty and sweaty the hands that kneaded this bread on the screen were, you'd probably throw up. It's not just the cooking practices and dirty surroundings that contribute to the filthy nature of this food, but also the body hygiene of the people making it is equally nasty. So it's better to just watch National Geographic or TLC travel show hosts trying out these exotic foods rather than enjoying them yourself and ending up in the hospital with diseases like cholera, typhoid, or gastroenteritis. Balut. So it's a hard-boiled egg. What's weird about that? Think again, because lurking beneath the innocent-looking shell is a tiny duck fetus that's been boiled alive. Nice. To make it, fertilized duck eggs are incubated for up to 20 days and then cooked to create this gruesome delight. Eating the balut is an involved process. Crack it open and you'll see a tasty broth. It's here where sensible people stop while the fearless go full throttle for that embryotic goodness. Take a trip to the Philippines and you can casually devour this delicacy with a beer. But let's be honest, it's going to take more than that to wash this foul dish down. Mice wine. Having a nice glass of wine is a much better idea if it has baby mice in it. Then again, what's wrong with a nice Merlot? Why is stealing mice from their parents and fermenting them in rice wine a better idea? Are we just throwing in all things that rhyme together? Let's put some lice, dice and ancient sacrifice in there while we're at it. Anyway, the baby mice are left there for around a year, and it's probably safe to drink this health tonic. The Chinese believe that it can help with asthma, although it apparently tastes like gasoline. We'll stick with the Merlot, thanks. Tuna eyeballs. A good food mantra is, if it appeared on the dinner table in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, don't eat it. But the Japanese appear to have ignored that advice. Enter tuna eyeballs. Gross. It's hard to avoid them. Their gaze follows you from stalls and markets, daring you to give them a try. Normally boiled and seasoned with soy sauce and rice wine, they apparently taste like a cross between a hard-boiled egg and squid. Tasty. They're packed with omega-3. So if you can get past the fact that you're eating the chewy, rubbery eyeball of a tuna, your intelligence will soar. It may be a good thing that the Japanese are making the most of every tuna, as overfishing is putting these animals at risk of extinction. Alaskan ice cream. Step 1. Beat a seal to death with a bat. Step 2. Wait, who cares about Step 2? Let's take a closer look at Step 1. Sure enough, akutuk, known as Alaskan Indian ice cream in Alaska, is an ice cream made in Canada and Alaska with origins in the native Eskimos of the regions, but also adopted more broadly by those living there. Whereas the rest of us use fat from eggs or milk to make our ice cream, this one uses caribou fat and oil from freshly beaten seals. Yes, you can legally beat seals to death in Canada. You can also legally hunt polar bears. It's mixed with berries and sweet roots. And if the idea of sweetened and chilled seal fat doesn't turn your stomach, how about this? It's traditionally made with the addition of fish and dried moose meat. Yep, fishy, meaty ice cream made from bashed seals and animal fat. It's not helped by the fact that it looks like a bowl of sick either. World's hardest dish. The Chinese dish called soudui, suck and throw, has gained traction on social media for its peculiar take on street food. The stones are stir-fried with an array of vegetables and spices such as chili oil, garlic and rosemary, supposedly flavour-coating them. The way it's eaten is simple: suck and throw. People are supposed to suck on the small rocks to relish the rich and spicy flavour of the dish, which originates in the eastern Chinese province of Hubei. They're instructed to suck off the flavours, then spit out the rocks, hence the dish's name, soudui, meaning suck and dispose. One serving costs about $2. Soudui is believed to date back hundreds of years. According to a local media report, boatmen passed it down for generations through their oral history. Back in the old days, boatmen could become stranded in the middle of a river and run out of food while delivering goods. To find happiness in the bitterness, the report said they would find stones to cook with other condiments to make a dish. Videos of internet users sampling soudui have sprung up all over Chinese social media in the recent times. They also show how street vendors cook up the unusual dish. Godzilla ramen. Foodies can't calm down their cravings for weird dishes. Days after people were seen eating stone-based food preparations in China, another weird recipe has gone viral from Taiwan. What is it? Godzilla ramen is what people call it, as the non-veg delicacy saw a crocodile leg popping out of the bowl. The Taiwanese eatery Nu Wu Mao Kue also shared several videos on the Facebook page informing people about their new dish. It was learned that many visited the Yunlin County restaurant to get a glimpse of the quirky dish and try it along with their friends. The soupy and a little spooky dish instantly went viral on social media, taking the internet by storm. It attracted mixed reactions as some wanted to try and taste the weird food item, while others said, no. Horse meat. Now, technically eating horse meat isn't illegal in the US, but slaughtering horses is. So not much of a difference because you just can't get horse meat to eat unless you can come up with an extensive and intelligent plan to justify slaughtering a horse or consuming its meat. This ban was extended and endorsed by President Trump in 2018. The disgrace associated with horse meat consumption stems from the cultural taboo the Americans have inherited from their British ancestors, as the English consider horses as sacred companions of humans. The only time consuming horse meat was permitted in Britain was during the rationing era of World War II. Contrary to the US and Britain, countries like Italy, Belgium, France, Switzerland and Germany openly consume horse meat, and it's known to be one of the healthier red meats. Another reason horse meat is banned in the US is that it's quite openly and abundantly consumed in Mexico, so people tend to take the horses across the border, slaughter them, and bring back their meat to the US. Although the US does not react leniently to such actions, and they have led to some high-profile cases of horse smuggling and rustling, where superior quality breeds and racehorses have ended up on the food platters. Haggis. At number 10 we have Scotland's national dish, but unfortunately for many Americans who take pride in their Scottish lineage, this dish has been banned in the US. Now its name might not be as appealing as the taste. Haggis can be classified as a savoury kind of pudding, constituted mainly of sheep heart, lung and liver. These are then mixed with oats, stock, onion and suet. If this wasn't enough to make you reconsider eating this dish, let's tell you that the dish is served in the stomach of a sheep. Crazy, right? As unappetizing as it sounds, haggis is popularly eaten with another ancient Scottish national dish, the deep-fried Mars bar. Scottish people who take pride in their heritage celebrate Burns Night, which is the celebration of their most favourite poet Robert Burns, by eating a big plate full of haggis. But you must be wondering, why exactly can't Americans consume haggis? This is because of the half-a-century-old import ban on sheep lungs. The ban was imposed because the government and scientists were worried about the possible spread of scrappy, a degenerative disease of sheep. This ban, however, doesn't only include the sheep lungs, rather all animal lungs have been banned for human consumption by the United States. While the fear of disease is justified, the sheep lungs have failed to cause any damage to the Scots, who still eat this dish and eat it quite frequently. Insects in your food. Have you ever thought about eating insects? We all know that in certain cultures these tiny creatures form a regular part of the cuisine, but if you don't belong to one of these cultures, we're sure that you'll be grossed out by the idea of eating insects as we are, if not more. Swallowing a beetle or just having to munch on grasshopper limbs is the kind of thing you end up doing in a nightmare, or watch your favourite actor do in a survival thriller, or as we like to call it, a horror film. But what if we tell you that insects have been a regular constituent of many food items you've been consuming without knowing it? Don't believe us? We get it. Who would want to be told the horrifying reality that they've been eating insects all their life? But it's true. Check out the ingredient list of your favourite candy, or that strawberry yoghurt you can't get enough of. If the ingredient list includes a colouring agent called E120, rest assured that you've been eating cochineals, and that too in huge numbers. This insect is native to Latin America and is whitish with a soft, rounded body. It generally feeds on plants. But what makes this insect stand out is the ability to produce carminic acid to protect itself from predators. This carminic acid has a beautiful crimson-red colour. So, for commercial purposes, these cochineals are raised in special kinds of cactus plantations. They're then harvested from these plants before being dried in the oven or under the sun. After drying, these insects are crushed and immersed in boiling water for a few seconds. This last step leads to the extraction of the colour, and the harvested substance is then used as a cosmetic, especially in the food colouring industry. This colouring agent is used by thousands of brands out there, mainly in the colouring of crusts of certain cheeses, sausage crusts, and in drinks like the famous sodas we consume on a day-to-day basis. Bees in your donuts. Who would have thought that these tiny cakes made of glutinous rice seasoned with sugar may have actual bees in them? These are quite popular among Asian consumers, especially in China and Japan. Mochi looks like a gooey elastic dough that's later cut up into smaller pieces and sold on the streets for quite a low price. But because the stalls making and selling these are usually situated on the streets, the strong smell of sugar attracts hundreds of honeybees to the dough that swarm all around it. And how many of those can the maker actually swat away, right? So there's a good chance some of these will end up being a part of the mochi with a rolling pin. Therefore, it's no surprise your sugar-filled mochi also has a bunch of bees in it, and if you're unfortunate, its venomous stinger might prick you and leave you with a sore and swollen mouth. Number 9. Vanilla flavouring. We all love beavers, the nice little aquatic rodents. They're so popular that a lot of teams worldwide pick them as their mascots. But they aren't just cute animals we love to film for our animal videos. They're also pretty intelligent creatures who've provided humanity with quite a lot of insight into the matters of aquatic hydraulics. It's no secret that they build the best dams and dikes in the entire animal kingdom. But despite all these cool qualities, what we didn't expect was to find out that they also have a huge contribution towards an infamous human food item. If the thought of having a beaver component in your food is making you cringe, wait while we tell you which part of the beaver we obtain this component from. In case you're an ice cream lover, especially the vanilla-flavoured one, or a dessert enthusiast who loves the vanilla essence in their cooking on a routine basis, then you ought to know that the food industry employs a substance called castoreum. It's a very fragrant, oily secretion with a yellowish colour and is obtained from glands located in the cloaca of beavers. This substance is a vital ingredient in the food industry, especially when it comes to reinforcing certain flavours like raspberry, strawberry, and most of all, vanilla. Who knew that the disgusting origins of this substance won't be able to stop it from becoming commercial gold? And if you love vanilla ice cream, there's no denying the fact that you've probably consumed a wild amount of this beaver anal gland product. Chinese vendors recycling sewage oil. Now this one is just extra nasty. As it turns out, many restaurants and street vendors are maximising their profits by selling the most unhygienic food to ever exist. They're recycling sewage oil. Yep, you heard it right. They directly collect the oil from city sewers into buckets. These collectors are horrible people who adulterate this awful oil and sell it to local restaurants and street food stalls. Experts have shown concern regarding this hideous practice and are of the view that 1 in 10 of all the meals sold in the country is subject to this distasteful practice. So basically 1/10 of Chinese street food is fried in this oil. And to further increase their profits, these vendors are collecting animal fat and dead rotting animal parts from the sewers of slaughterhouses and use it to make frying oil. Despite the authorities trying their best to put an end to this business, it continues to thrive and rob people of their health. Number 8. Eye-opener for cheeseburger lovers. Here's a fair warning. If you're a fan of cheeseburgers, it's better if you skip this part because after hearing this, you'll never want to get another McDonald's in your life. In this section, we'll be showing you a certain substance usually referred to as the pink slime or glue by the media and food industry. What has glue and slime got to do with burgers, you may ask? It's a pink, gooey commercial-grade beef additive that's added to the ground meat to increase its volume, weight and quantity. It's formed by grinding the negligible parts of beef, fats, tendons and other connective tissue. This is processed in a huge centrifuge until a thick paste is created, and the paste is then treated with ammonia and citric acid to purge all the possible microbes. The finished product is then sent to meat plants and restaurants ready to be mixed into what they tell us is pure meat products. This unappetizing mixture is probably a part of the sandwiches and burgers you're eating and you don't even know it. Just remember that this pink slime is present in that double beef party burger you're planning to order, so think again. Indian street food. If you're a foreigner in India and the hunger pangs are hitting you stronger every minute, just head back to your hotel or go to a well-known bigger restaurant. Believe us, this one piece of advice will save you a lot of trouble, especially in your gut. Never eat at one of those street-side shops and food stands in places like Bombay or New Delhi if you want to avoid getting severe diarrhea or don't want to end up making your gut a home to parasites. You can see how poor the conditions are with these trailers set up in the hot weather in dirty, unclean places littered with garbage everywhere. Most of these dishes sold on the streets are very popular local specialties, but the way they're prepared will have you running for the mountains. It's common knowledge that the street food in India is almost always exposed to microbes and insects, especially flies. The vendors rarely ever use gloves to prepare and serve the food, the counters are untidy, the cutlery is washed with dirty water if it ever is. It's safe to say that most basic hygiene standards are blatantly ignored here. Now, you will say that the locals are eating and they're fine. Yes, but they've lived here and consumed this all their lives. Their bodies and immune systems have adapted to their locality, and they're not always fine. We understand it's hard to resist the appetizing vada pav or butter chicken from the streets, but it's better to miss out on some food than to spend your vacation traveling between your toilet and your bed. The Indian flatbread. Who doesn't like crisp and freshly baked Indian bread with their saucy lentils and curry sauce? This bread is a staple around the subcontinent and is being consumed on a daily basis by people in streets and homes. Its gastronomic supremacy in India is unchallenged. You all must be aware of some of these baking specialties of South Asia, like the paratha or naan. But were you also aware that in a lot of places the dough for this bread is kneaded in dreadfully unhygienic ways? Just like the one being done in this video you see. Look at how this baker kneads this dough using his bare feet, and that too on the dirty, bare floor. The filth in the place and on the person's feet is visible from far away. This dough, once kneaded, will be flavoured with a special spice to induce the legendary flavour, after which it's cut into pieces and loaded in the oven to be baked and served to unsuspecting customers. We don't think there's any need to say more about this. Just avoid this flatbread. Grilled ostrich. That's right, grilled ostrich. Imagine searing the largest bird in the world on your grill. This would earn you some serious bragging rights with your barbecue gang. It might be surprising, but a lot of chefs around the world are trying their hand at this bird meat. They're known to be equally delicious as they are healthy. In fact, the fat ratio for ostrich meat is way less than your regular chicken or turkey meat. So basically, you're consuming massive amounts of lean protein minus the guilt of all the fat usually found in red meat. They're also packed with iron. If that isn't enough, ostrich meat is low in pH levels, making them harder to be infected with bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella. Sounds like a great deal to me, if only ostrich meat was widely available. Periwinkles. No, not the plant. These are a species of whelk or sea snail. If you're familiar with the idea of eating snails, or escargots as they're called in France, sea snails are not that big of a stretch. These snails are mostly caught by hand off the rocks or using a drag from a boat, and are widely consumed in the coastal regions of Scotland, England, Wales and Ireland. They are probably not the best food to have when you're super hungry, since it takes some effort to eat them, as you can see here, but add in some butter to the mix and it's worth your time. They're also known to have tannins, which can reduce inflammation in the body. They're also considered as a delicacy in African and Asian cuisines, and are high in protein, omega-3 fatty acids and low in fat. Sounds good enough to try.
Before going to number 1 on this list, take a look at this fruit. In a secluded Indian village, a peculiar fruit known as baka held a revered status. Its unique taste and texture were celebrated by locals, who considered it the world's finest fruit. Baka was a staple in traditional dishes and was often reserved for special occasions. With its rugged exterior, the fruit bore an uncanny resemblance to a pair of testicles. While visitors to the village were initially surprised by its appearance, those who tasted it were immediately captivated by its rich, sweet flavor. Would you be willing to try a fruit that looks so unusual? How important is the appearance of food to your willingness to try it? Share your thoughts.
Halo halo. What do Filipinos do to beat the summer heat? They indulge in this extravagant dessert called halo halo. Sounds like an enthusiastic way to greet someone. Halo halo basically means mix mix in the Filipino language. It's a mix of a ton of goodies. Where do I even start? A typical halo halo contains crushed ice, evaporated milk, purple yam, sweetened beans, coconut strips, sago, agar, flattened rice, fruit slices, flan, and all this is topped with a scoop of ice cream. That's not even the entire ingredient list, but one thing is for sure, this dessert seems to have the best of everything. A trip to the Philippines is in order, and halo halo is on the top of the list of things to try there. That's all for today. We know you guys are going to have a hard time sleeping after watching this video, but aren't you glad you found out about these horrifying practices, and now you can quit eating those unhygienic things? Tell us in the comments which one of these made you throw up. For more awesome and entertaining content, keep following our channel. See you all next time.